teaching this methodology. Okay, so they call it the sound healing, or you can call it the sound therapy. Okay, but our research is, does it work? Why does it work? So yes, it works, like I've said before. If the frequency can trigger the pineals, which is one of the major, glands we call Xiaomen, in Chinese, and this is upper dantian. Okay, so we talk about dantian now, not just always lower dantian. We got middle dantian, don't forget, we got also upper dantian. Okay, so mainly the training, if you focus on the lower dantian, then you will never get the blinking natural body medicine, because upper dantian is the master glands, and the earth tablet and the J palace is here. Okay, so you have to actually focus on the upper dantian. Okay, now, so what happened is this sixth sound, okay, yeah. So what are the six sounds? Okay, now if I may just use this, I use the Chinese sign as well. Okay, now I also use two different dialects, because the Chinese in China, we have 56 different race, or if you wanted to, tribes is better. I think tribe is better than race. We're all same race in the Chinese race, but we have different tribes, and every tribes have their own languages and different dialect and or speaking. That's where the problem come in. Now, for example, first one is the liver, right? They're gone, they're gone. The qi. So this teaching recommending that this character called in Cantonese, okay, but in Mandarin it called qi. So you tell me who is right? Who is right? Now don't forget, we got 56 different tribes. We're all talking about different languages. So which one will actually trigger the liver? The liver, then come out, So you got a big problem there, haven't we? Okay, so the next one, right, about the lung, because I'm going through this through the 12-hour cycles of each organ energy going through, yeah? So next one is the lungs, representing what Cantonese called hey, now look at the mouth, hey, okay, but Mandarin they call si. Then we got a problem. So a lot of teachers, they actually just even very focused. It's fine, they focus and they're picking pictures and this and that and teaching this so-called healing sound. But the problem is the language. Different dialects give different tones. So who is right and who is wrong? And also, can that simple note actually trigger the natural body medicine to self-regulate or self-heal that problems of problematic organs involved? So we got big problem, haven't we? Okay, so now next one is about spleen. Spleen. So 5,000, well, it's not 5,000 years. The sound therapy exists, but later on they come into the six healing sound is about 2,000 years, 2,500 years records. Okay, yeah. So they call it fu. Cantonese called fu, and then in Mandarin you call hu. Oh, so when I hu, and they're helping my spleen, is it? So go on, you do it. Right, you saying Cantonese then? Fu, so it can help your spleen problem, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, and then we talk about the heart. Ho. We call Cantonese ho. Mandarin. Hen. All right. The kidney side, they're using the character chui, and then the Mandarin called chui. Right? The last one is really a big problem, because we talk about the three burner. Remember the three burner, which you mean the upper burner, the middle burner, and the lower burner, which is inclusive of 12 major organs in the Chinese medicine side. Okay, so the guy who founded this saying that one word can already regulate 12 organs in the body, and the word is in Cantonese he, he, and then in Mandarin xi. Now, so if I do, well, say they said recommend you do as many as you can. So before I go to tonight, I got a problem, and I'll do this xi 100 times. Xi, then I can regulate all my organs. Right? Well, you tell me. So through anatomy and through endocrinology, we found a lot of problems. Fair enough. So we have to look at the problem before we move on. What did you think? Is because you have to find a problem, and maybe we can find the answer. So if you're not even willing to face upon the devils, how are you going to find the answer? How are you going to find the answer? So somebody said to you, like the sound, like, so you can self-heal yourself like that, isn't it? Why? My question would you, why? Do you know why? So you don't know why. Is it hearsay? Is it hearsay? So we have big problem, isn't it? Okay, now I'm just going to do something. Okay, so just listen. Okay. We all have that, have we? So two metal, okay, yeah, the so-called or the Buddha thing. It's only a metal. It's only a stick. So I'm stick hitting a metal, and then the all religious thing coming. So it's up to you. There's no problem. It's a very nice sound, really nice sound. It'll kick me into spontaneous. But is anything to do with religion, spiritualism? No, that's your answer. That's not my answer, right? Okay, I'm only putting something in front of you. Fair enough. So yes, sound therapy exists. Now, if we use today's sound therapy, bring it more closer to us. Okay, yeah. So like just like you, you put on your headphone and you put into really nice music, you fall asleep. Why? Your melatonin come out because it's right here is the receptor. The ear receives the signal, the sound, which is the music, okay, which brings out what brings out melatonin from your pineal, J liquid from the J palace 5,000 years ago. The Chinese call that. So it does exist. It works, but not for everyone, of course. Yeah, because some people are born very sensitive. Yes, they can blow in. Now I can go into spontaneous without using anything. Okay, but can you do that? So anything in the principle in the universe, principle of yin and yang, is 50% yes and 50% no. Right? Okay, so what happened to the yes one? That's fine. They can do it. That's good. Right? Yeah. And then what happened to those 50% of people? No, people. Can we do a bit better? Can we? That's why Gong Fa. That's why the methodology which have been created for a few thousand years in China. It's trying to help the 50% of people which they are not very, very sensitive. So the susceptibility between cosmic and human energy, right? Their levels of receiving external signal is not as sensitive than other group, which is the yes group. Okay, so we're trying to use mind, training of the mind and training of our body in the internal Taoist medicine, which is without any medications, using methodology to trigger our self-healing, right, ability. So this is what our research focus on. Okay, so that is why it's very, very important that, you know, we understand what are we doing. So if we do not even understand what are we doing, well, why do you do that? What are we doing? Well, why do you do that? Why do you do that? Can you ask another question to the master? Ask him. Why? Excuse me, sir. Why? So if the guy can't even explain to you, does he know? Does he really know? Huh? Well, that's your choice. That's your doubt. And I've been through it. I've seen it. I've been there, and I've done it. Okay, I'm come out of it because from the spiritual side, religious side, I'm not getting any answer. That's fair enough. You can say, and I'm not a good believer, so it's my fault. So I came out of it. I retreat myself, and I go into the scientific way, right? And I do the research as a human science, and I found some answer. All right. So my advice to people is, yes, the ancient, they were not wrong. What's wrong is us, the descendants. A lot of people, like I said, I'm a Chinese, so I can say it. So in case people said, you know, bringing the racial card, a lot of my own countrymen, they're not even qualified in this internal Taoist medicine, and they're already masters. So that is our main reason. So we have to have a lot of work in China. So God help you guys outside China. Okay, so I put the homework before you now. Yes, it works, but can we do it a little bit better? How does it work? Now, obviously, that it takes training, it takes learning. So it's not just sitting there. Well, then you can connect. Connect what? Connect cosmic. Is that it? You can connect cosmic energy. So maybe, you know, I mean, I give you the so-called narrative side. Maybe then you can have a think, bring out the middle, use your, you know, your own thinking. So free of charge education with a cultural exchange platform, please. Okay, yeah. So, but it's a lung according to the sixth sound. So it's not they call hey, hey, or in Mandarin, see. It's way out, isn't it? Completely out. So you tell me who's right. So of course, the guy, the patient reaction is more direct, isn't it? There's only not the third party. So we are talking about subconsciousness and consciousness. Now, when you try to do chanting, if you by yourself, if you're so sensitive, right, you don't even have to do it. You close your eyes, just relax, bang, you go into spontaneous. Okay, yeah. But are you up to that level? Ask yourself, are you up to that level? So if you're not even up to that level, how are you going to experiencing that? Fair enough. So all the spiritual dancing, is a spontaneous reaction. That's all. But when you talk about using the methodology, now if you do it on yourself because you are making some conscious movements, like just like this. Hey, so I can do hey, hey, I can do 50 times, I do 100 times, it will, I'm still conscious. So if we look at the consciousness, subconsciousness through sleep pattern, okay, don't look into that, oh, drift into, close your eye, drift in the subconsciousness of the universe. Excuse me, I'm very stupid. Universe has a subconsciousness, all consciousness. I'm so stupid, I don't know. You tell me. Okay. So if we look at the sleep pattern, the consciousness with the brainwave, we all know that there is beta. So through the methodology, can we change the beta frequency of the brainwave to alpha or theta, or even completely shut down the brainwave at delta? So that is the whole scenario of spontaneous qigong. So if you don't understand that, what are you training? What are you training? I don't know. Have you ever asked yourself? Okay. So that's why it doesn't work, because the trainer cannot change your brainwave, which is obviously in Chinese 5,000, we call it Yao Wei, or consciousness, to Wu Wei, subconsciousness. Beta to alpha to theta, or even Wu Wei delta, completely shut down. Does it make more sense to you now? So have we got a very direct and very straight down or your path or the way to learn? Is close your eyes, relax. Fair enough. So the decision is yours.